Hi everyone and welcome to the Unquendor Guitars workshop. My name is Daniel and this is the first episode of a brand new guitar building series in which I'm going to be making one of my Nessa guitar models, my interpretation on the well-known 80s Super Strats. In a recent live stream I had chat decide on which woods we're going to be using on this guitar build, and they come up with a very nice selection. Of course, we started by selecting the main body wood, this lovely one piece of black limba, and you can see it right here. It's the Stream's Choice, and this is actually going to be the back of the guitar, and the front is a bit more plain, which of course is going to be adorned with this beautiful quilted big leaf maple top, and I hope it comes across on camera on how lovely this top actually is. And for the neck, of course, we're going to use one of my custom neck blanks, and you can see it's 3 sections of flamed maple with 2 stripes of black limba. And in between the maple and the black limba is a tiny ebony veneer stripe. So it's a 9-piece laminated neck, nicely quarter sawn and almost ready to go. And that's going to be topped off with this beautiful pale moon ebony fretboard. Lovely drawing, lovely figuring on this fretboard as well. And you can see maybe it says Chad's Choice. So this is what we're going to be using for this guitar. And although it's tempting to start working on the body, I think the neck is the most important part of a guitar. Everything depends on how the neck turns out and on the scale length and such. So first thing we're going to do is work on the neck, and to be more precise, I'm going to make sure the neck blank is nice, flat, straight and squared up. So let's put the neck blank in my vise. Take out my number 7 plane and start planing the neck blank. And after checking that the top surface where the fretboard is going to be is absolutely dead flat, dead straight, I also want to make sure this surface is perpendicular to the center line of the neck. So with a little square, I'm going to check these 2 lines of the laminate, and it's perfectly square to this center line. So I'm done with preparing the top surface of the neck blank. So let's draw in the all-important center line. And draw in the outline for the neck. Let's see. I like it to be a V pattern like so. So, and after marking the outline of the neck onto the blank, it's time to mark where the truss-rod is going to sit. So mark one end of the truss-rod channel, and on the other side mark where the wider section is for the adjustment knob or nut. And I'm going to route up until the nut line. So to help me route the channel for the truss rod, I've installed a jig on top of the neck blank, and this helps me to keep my router nice and centered. So now that I'm done routing, I can take the neck blank from the vise, remove my jig, and now I'm going to use some chisels and square off the ends of the truss-rod channel and fit the truss-rod. So the truss rod is in and it fits nice and snug into the channel. I didn't have to force it in, but it isn't rattling, it isn't loose either, so that's absolutely perfect. Now it's time to head over to the bandsaw and cut the neck shape from this blank. After using the bandsaw to get the rough outline of this wonderful neck, I'm now using masking tape and super glue to attach my template to the neck and then use my router table to finalize the outline. So the shape of the neck and the headstock break angle are coming along nicely, and the next step for me is to start focusing on the fretboard first. And the first thing I need to do is get it to thickness, to about 6-7 mils. So I'm going to put the neck aside for a moment, clamp the fretboard onto my workbench and get one of my planes and get this thing to thickness. Nice. With the fretboard cut to size and with the two tiny strips I'm going to later on use as binding prepared, it's now time to cut the fret slots. And to do so I'm going to use this fret slotting template and my Proxen miniature table saw with a tiny blade and this cross-cut slat. And this allows me to very quickly cut all 24 of the fret slots. So here we go. The fretboard is coming along nicely. I have all the fret slots cut and I started the binding with gluing this orange veneer to the sides of the fretboard. I also have the two ebony strips I cut from the side of this fretboard to be used as the binding later on. But first there's a fun job to do, and that's of course doing the 12th fret logo inlay. I've already printed my tulip logo on a piece of paper and I have this piece of aluminium or aluminum, and the first thing I need to do is stick this piece of paper to my inlay material and start cutting the design with my jeweler saw. Now with the pieces of my inlay done, it's time to do the actual inlay into the fretboard, and to do so I'm once again going to stick a printed version of the inlay to the 12th fret using some masking tape and some super glue. And then I'm going to trace the inlay with a scalpel, so I have a nice mark where my inlay is going to be on the neck, and then I can take my router, my tiny Dremel, and route the actual cavity for the inlay. So here we go. So I'm very happy with how the inlay went, and I also added the fret position markers to the fretboard. But before I can glue the fretboard to the neck, I first want to sand in a radius. And to help me do that, I made this jig, and this helps me to keep my radius sanding beam nice and straight, parallel, and all that good stuff to the fretboard while I'm sanding in a 12-inch radius. So I'm going to clamp the jig onto my workbench at the sanding beam and just start sanding very carefully until I have my nice 12-inch radius. I'm done sanding the radius in the fretboard, and now it's time to glue the fretboard to the actual neck. And I went ahead and prepared everything, so now it's just a matter of spreading some glue onto this neck blank and clamp the fretboard down. So put my clamping coil aside, take out a bit of glue and start gluing the fretboard to the neck. Add the clamping coil. So the fretboard is glued to the neck, and I'm going to leave this to dry until the next episode. So if you want to know how I continue to work on this neck, make sure you check in the next time I upload something new. So if you like this video, of course, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, question or suggestion in the comment section down below. And if you surely don't want to miss out on my next uploads, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you have set your little notification bell to notify all, so YouTube will notify you when I upload something new. Yeah, guys, like I said, in the next episode I'm going to continue my work on this neck, and I hope to see you all there. But until then, as always, take care and bye bye.